I just don't want to push. I don't want to push through something, make a video that I'm not supposed to make, maybe just not yet, or maybe I need to tweak something about it before I make it. And I don't know exactly what it is that's causing this video to be such a hard thing to make. I've been in a different shirt each of the 3 times I've tried to make it. I've actually done more adjustment, if you will, to the cartilage in my right ear between each of these 3 times I've tried to make this video. There's been a lot that's happened, and I mean, it's just the past 2-3 days, I guess 3 days. I don't know why this video is so huge and why it's so hard for me to make. I'll say this though, the sternocleidomastoid muscle, okay, when I talk about the importance of even sternocleidomastoid insertions, that's huge because that goes directly to the ear. But this is the thing, I don't even know if I'm gonna finish making this video. I'm not. Well, here's the thing, you know, the pelvis crest, like I was just saying, the importance of even lat insertions is important. I still don't have even lat insertions because of patterning for years. And, everything within the body affects everything else in the body, okay? As we talk about, it's just how it is. Everything has a role to play, and everything has to be playing its role. Otherwise, something else tries to compensate, and it just can't do that. The whole body's there, and everything has a function. It's really windy, right? Anyway, point is, the lat will affect the jaws position, which will affect the cartilage in the ear, and big time, you know. So when I talk about even lat insertions and, you know, breaking up the scar tissue on the right lat because of the right-handed world, because of the patterning we get into. And if you're left-handed, you're still to a degree within these right-handed patternings, but maybe it is your left side that's more bound up. But regardless, I mean, this is what I mean when I say breaking up the scar tissue. I'm just using my own thumbs, just internally rotating my arms, putting my hands on my hips, right on my hip bones, you know, where our pants sit, just right above. Yeah, and just using my thumb on my right hand to get the insertion of those lats to be even, you know. You just break up the scar tissue, do it relatively slowly, right? I mean, yeah, take a little bit of time, you know, don't try to do it all in one sitting or one day, but you know, over some time, just kind of massage it out there, right where the musculature meets the crest of the pelvis, right? I mean, we talk about the right pelvis crest. That's another video we have under the main side of InTheImageClothingCompany, and how it gets bound up. That's exactly the same area, you know, as the importance of even lat insertions. And so, as I was just doing here, that you could see and hear, yeah, just working out that scar tissue. Picture scar tissue just like, you know, like a cramp or like a bound up muscle or like something stiff in the body, or you know, I talk about it like that gristly stuff. If you eat meat and like steak, you know, you've got the hard gristly stuff in the steak. That's scar tissue essentially, right? Kind of. I mean, it's fat a lot of the time, has that same texture, but it just needs to be broken up, softened up. It just needs to be able to dissipate. It shouldn't be there. It's only there because of patterning, because the musculature hasn't been able to do its job in its natural neutral location, that lat, right? And so it just moves the insertion off to the side over time, over years, months, decades, whatever it is. And oh, shoot, you know, so that's the big point. Is I can sit here and try to make this video, right? This third time that I've tried to make it. The importance of even ear cartilage, because yeah, it's so important, right? The right side, especially the right-handed world. The jaw moving off to the right will just move the cartilage. The ear will just fill the gap that gets created, right? Because cartilage just will fill the gap of the ear canal. That's why it's there, really, as like a protection for the ear hole, right? The ear canal to hear through. So I can sit here and I can try to make this time and time and time again, but the point is, even if you had your ear cartilage be adjusted, right, to the degree that it's actually even, and you had your jaw get, you know, centered by, like we say under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, eating and drinking with the left hand or non-dominant, right, to keep our jaw actually in the center, because it stabilizes our entire body in its center line, right? So you can do all these things, and you can basically do everything that I could say and will, because I'll make the video, it'll happen, right? Within the video, the importance of even ear cartilage. But even with everything done proper and centered, keeping your clothing centered, short sleeves short, right? That's a video we have under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, keeping short sleeves short. The importance of even short sleeves, that's another video. Oh yeah, right, you're doing all the things, keeping your collar centered of your top, even around your neck, right? The dreaded collar seam modification under In the Image Clothing Company. When there's a collar in your top, we modify it. No, when there's a seam in the collar of your top, we modify it to keep the collar centered because of all the musculature going through the collar in the neck of our bodies. You have your shirts fitting you correct. You have your pants fitting you correct. You have your drawstrings tied evenly, right? How drawstrings... Anyway, I'm not going to keep referencing videos. We have so many videos I could reference, and I do that where I do. But this video is just a discussion now rather than a specific video on the cartilage of the ears. It's just not this one. I'll do it. I will, for sure. But that's what I'm saying. You do everything in your upper body, everything in your clothing, everything all throughout your body to make it so that your jaw can be centered, so that your ear cartilage can be even left to right. If your lat insertion down at your pelvis is still just so bound up on one side, your arm will just be pulled down. You know, the insertion of the latissimus dorsi muscle There's one on each side of the body, okay? It's from the upper arm bone here. This is the humerus. It's right on the rear of the upper arm bone next to the shoulder joint. And it comes down, spans your whole back. This is it right here. You can see it coming out right here on my body. So it starts here, spans down, connects to the lowest vertebrae, just a few vertebrae of the lower back, and then to the crest of the pelvis, right? The pelvis does this. There's bones of the pelvis that are like hills, if you will, on each side, like this, right? Like a crest, like you crest over a hill, right? So, and then the pelvis has like independent motion side to side. So that's what I talk about with drawstrings. You tie a knot like this, right? A right-handed knot. You twist your whole pelvis forward, essentially, which is anterior, and then it twists like left. So that rotates the right side of the body all the way down to the foot, external, and then the left side is like kind of emphasized this internal, like stuck position. So you're like this, okay? Traveling through the whole body. Okay, so I can get so deep with explanations of things. This is what I'm saying. Sometimes I don't know how to approach these videos because we've got so much to say. I've got a lifetime of In the Image Clothing Company, but I'm still going through adjustments. I'm still ridding the scar tissue in my own body from years of patterning from the very same things that I'm just showing with other people, everybody across the whole earth. Like I say when I say where clothing has to sit: man, woman, tall, short, skinny, fat, any age, any part of the earth, any time period to ever be, you're a human being. No matter what, you know, your clothing has to sit here. And then yes, pants entirely above the hips, slightly higher in the front than the rear. Shoulder seams on top, sit behind the peak of our shoulders. The edges ideally are right at the very edges of our shoulders, okay? Just where our shoulders work. Shoulders follow shoulder seams, so they'll go behind the body because the shoulders only ever work behind the head. And then the edges of the shoulder joint is just where our shoulder joint should be, right? As far as those edge seams of our tops, because then the functionality can mesh in the same location. So then I talk about our two prerequisites. We'll do it. This will just be a video as it is, as it's started. I'll just keep discussing. This will be like a thick discussion video to a degree, except there's the wind. That's what I mean. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I don't say much more in this video, and I'm not upset, honestly. It's just that I don't know sometimes how to approach these things, and it's cool because it's the fruits of the labor. You know, it's real time. Like, look, I'm trying to show you things that I do know out of personal experience, yet I'm still personally experiencing. I'm still getting out of these same patternings, and so this is the thing. The lat has to be addressed. Shoelaces go to the lat, right? Uneven shoelaces, drawstrings, uneven, go to the lat. Oversized tops go to the lat. Uneven shoulder seams go to the lat. Okay. Uncentered collars go to the lat. Everything in the body will go to the latissimus dorsi muscle insertion at the pelvis crest because it's our hips. And I talk about it, the core of a human being can never be deactivated. The whole body can only work activated as a whole. That's why everything's there, like I was saying. So anyway, when we have our pelvis in the center of our body, that is our core in a sense, okay? Everything around the pelvis too, right? It's yeah, okay. Everything going into the pelvis, that's the point. It's the center of the body, top to bottom. And in our center of our body, top to bottom, is that lat insertion. It's such a big muscle. I don't know, and it doesn't really matter, but you know what the biggest muscle in the body is, but hamstrings are pretty big. Some of the quadriceps are pretty big. The lat is big. It might be the biggest muscle in the body. If not, it's one of them. It's a big muscle. And that's kind of the big point, is when you have that big of a muscle, if it's that altered, well, it's just big, right? It's just going to alter your body big time. Okay, so the other thing is it connects the center of your body with all this functionality in the hips to your arm, okay, to your shoulder. And the hands are essentially the shoulders, but then the feet are essentially the hips. As I say, you know, I say both those things often under In the Image Clothing Company. And so I think the big point is it's connecting to major parts of the body with a lot of effect that travels through the whole body. Okay, the shoulder will affect the hand, the hips will affect the feet, and the lat connects to the shoulder and the hips. So, you know, there are a few things in the body that are debatably more important than anything else. I talk about how the body can't compensate, and we really can't go with anything in the body not doing its job, not playing its role. But there are certain things that are bigger than others, right? And physically big, like that lat. And so that's one of the things we have to just be so intentional about. Here's the big thing. Things in the pockets, okay? On jeans, there's that, at least at this time and past decades, leather patch thing that's on the rear of the jeans. That's right there on that lower right lat insertion. I mean, that's the exact location. And then if you tie a drawstring, that's just the side in a right-handed knot that's being just so pulled on and inhibited, just because of the nature of what the knot will do when it gets pulled. It twists the hips and pulls on the right rear of your lower back, you know, right there on the, pelvis crest on the right side. So this is huge. And you know, the sternocleidomastoid, if your lat is just chronically shortened, chronically inhibited on the right side, well, you're just pulling your whole right side down. And what's going to stabilize your head then, if your lat's so inhibited, it's this little muscle, this little sternocleidomastoid muscle that is quite small. And so then we've got a bulge there, you know, like I say, that's the point of importance of even sternocleidomastoid insertions of the head, right? Well, at the skull, right behind the ears. And then that's the other thing, is if we're talking about the cartilage in the ears, you can't address the cartilage in just your ears without addressing your sternocleidomastoid insertion imbalances. Otherwise, then now your jaw can move into a position where it's more centered because the cartilage gets broken up in the ear. But then the musculature that's supporting your head, that was used to that cartilage being like a buffer in a sense between your rear of your lower jawbone and your skull, the sternocleidomastoid then is pulling in a position that's now not something it can really do naturally. So this is the thing with the body, you know, and this is why I never give exercises, because really I just give information. I give understandings. As the founder of the Image Clothing Company, I never give, stretches, because we shouldn't ever stretch the human body. Musculature in the body only contracts, which is getting shorter, right, as I say. And so stretch within the body, it goes the opposite direction of the only way the muscles could ever work. Like I say with stretch in clothing, this is new, only decades ago from today's date, the 10th of September 2025. So anyway, we have to address the whole body. So I don't give any kind of like exercise plan or anything like that, and we never will. Never under In The Image Clothing Company, because you can't. Broad spread like that. Everybody's in their own patterning to a degree. We're all in the same pattern, but the degree of it and where it's emphasized and why exactly in your own specific situation it's been happening and to what degree, it's individual. So I will never ever give exercises. I mean, yes, definitely we'll show, like I'm showing here, you know, releases of scar tissue and where to, but then you do it yourself. We talk about you know, allowing the body to work. We're never exercising it to try to get it to do something. So the insertion of that lat, I mean, it's if you have anything in your right front pocket, like I did for so many years, I put a cell phone in my right front pocket, okay? We have smartphones at this time. the past 10 plus years, it's been about 13 years, I've had a smartphone or something like it. And that's where I put it, my front right pocket. Now, you're wrenching on the rear of your right hips, okay? Same location. Oh, shoot. Okay, so this is what I mean is there's so many things that go into that specific area. And I could talk about it in depth. That's what I mean. I keep choking up. It's like I can't get the words out. It's like I can't even speak on these things, and I'm saying it correct. It's not like I'm saying something wrong and I shouldn't be saying it. It's because it's so big, you know. And as I've said since the founding, the Image Clothing Company is and always will be huge, just because we speak truth. We just discuss things as they are, and it will never change. The human body can only ever work the way that it always has worked for every human and every generation to ever be on this earth. It's designed in the image of God. Okay. So, yeah. You know, I don't want to say that there's like one specific thing in the body that's more important than the rest of it, because everything is there for a reason. But I will say those lats, yeah, because there's nothing else that connects to the pelvis out there. We've got things like the quadratus lumborum. There's a muscle down there, you know. I mean, there's deep-rooted abdominal muscles and the adductors, and you know, there's a lot that comes up into the pelvis, yes, but on the actual crest of the pelvis, those lats are the farthest out thing that connects. And when you have that at the center of your body, that's just going to cause the most effect, because it's the farthest out from the center line of your body. You know, it's like how I say it, you know, we talk about the pinky finger often. Involving the pinky finger, okay, is a video we have under In the Image Clothing Company's main side. The pinky finger affects the entire body, the importance of even pinky fingers, okay. We talk about the pinky finger, those natural hand arches, right, the rounding to our hands. Pinky finger is the neutral wrist, right, straight out from that forearm is the neutral wrist, right, if you follow it out, the pinky finger on the outside of the forearm. So it's things like this that are the farthest out from the center line of the body, like the pinky finger and like that outer part of the crest of the pelvis, the pinky toes as well, you know. I mean, these things that are on the farthest outside of the body that are going to affect it the most, you know. I mean, we emphasize internal rotation, getting closer to the body's center line. All the musculature connects from the outside of the body, like the outside of the shoulders, and then into the center at things like the sternum in the front, and then into the center at the spine in the rear, right? When's the change? Soccer goal tripod. So, and yeah. So, this is what it is, a deep discussion on just what I'm discussing, okay? Anyway, the crest of that pelvis, it's huge. We have to really place a lot of importance on doing all that we can to keep each side of the body centered in all the ways. And there are specific spots, like I just mentioned, that will have a greater effect because it's a mechanical thing, right? The human body is just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. The mechanical advantage that things have, lever system wise, the farther out you get, they'll have a greater effect. Okay, so there you go. I mean, if you stand with your feet arches activated, with your legs even, your hips as even as you can, right? Within patterning is what I mean by that. And your shoulders even, your spine even, your core activated, your head centered over your body, your jaw centered, and there you go. And then from here, keeping everything activated, keeping everything neutral as well as we can. If you bend one direction without adjusting anything, like the evenness of the weight on each foot and things like that, notice how far you can bend one direction versus the other. And as I bend left here, my right heel comes off the ground. Because why? Because of this pelvis crest, really, because of the latissimus dorsi insertion to the pelvis crest. And it moves off to the right side, so my right heel comes off the ground, right? So this is probably what we would do, right? I say I don't give exercises, and I don't. I just want to be clear on what I mean by that, where it's a one-time release, you know? It's just, well, we have scar tissue, how do we rid it, right? Not like an exercise to continually do or to try to get your body to do something at all. Just, what's wrong? How do we get rid of it? And then we're done. This is what we would do, really. And the big thing is focus on your head too, you know? This is funny. I'm almost giving an exercise, even though, no, this... I don't know how to explain it because I'm not trying to avoid doing that, but I just don't want to ever label something as some kind of exercise for you to think that it's something you would need to keep up on. No, you do it once and you're done. There's an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled Never Be the Same. And that's what I talked about. It was months ago. And I was saying, you know, once we rid our bodies from these scar tissue patternings, right? Chronic patterning and scar tissue, chronic scar tissue and patterning, whatever I say and however I say it in whatever order, that's what we get out of under In the Image Clothing Company. That's the point. That's how we allow the body to work, because it would just work if it was never put into patterning by being forced to work around clothing, okay? Or just the right-handed world. Anything imbalanced, right? Sitting in positions the body just wouldn't naturally, and all the things, okay? Unnatural materials nowadays and stretch, right? So all the things that affect the body. That's the whole point, is we never need to do exercises. We never need to work out. Our bodies just work, and we just have to allow them to stay working, right? Designed to work is an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, again, months ago, where that's the thing, you know, not only are our bodies designed to do their functions, but they're designed to actually put forth work and physical effort, always. Hi. Shirt. That was intended on being like a windscreen a little bit, and now we're here, okay, in this discussion. I didn't expect it to be like this, but that's fine, because, yeah. So if I ever do give something that seems like an exercise, and then I, you know, seem like I'm trying to cover myself by saying we don't give exercises, I just mean I don't want anybody getting this idea that you have to keep doing these things. What I give is one-time releases. But yeah, I mean, as I'm doing this, I don't really know how to put into words in a way that you could understand exactly what I'm feeling, but just the discrepancy left to right. The right side, I mean, I can feel the edge of that lat. Like, you can see it here, but as it comes down, right before it connects to the pelvis crest, it's like a pretty solid edge. You know, a lot of musculature has like a lot of give to it. The edge of those lower part of the lats, it's like a distinct edge to the musculature as it's coming down. And just the difference left to right is crazy on my own body right now. And so, you know, it's something I've thought about since a long time ago. When you see people standing with their hands on their hips, right, you're either internal or you're external, okay? And if you're external like this, with the rotations of your forearms traveling up to your shoulders from your hands, right, your whole body's like deactivated. If you're internal, like I say, we focus on internal rotation under in the Image Clothing Company. That's how we get the body to work, because that's where muscles get the shortest, meaning contracting the most, meaning working the best or the strongest, is internally rotated toward the center of the body. So if you see people standing with their hands on their hips, internally rotated, they've probably got a fairly good working body, right? Body mechanics, like we say, under In the Image Clothing Company. And so, anyway, that's what we're doing in this case. When we're addressing the lat insertions, you're just standing with your hands right on your hip bones, right? Internally rotated, and your thumbs just land, if you will, just that's where they sit, right on the insertion of those lats. And so it just needs to be even on both sides, you know, not for the sake of your hands only to be able to sit there. That too, yeah, but because of what it's doing to the entire body. It's such a big muscle, such a strong muscle. And yeah, I mean, you think of doing a pull-up, you know, pulling yourself, like this is a soccer goal. If I grab the crossbar of the soccer goal post, right, just pulled myself up, what that is this lat, the insertion here at the arm and the insertion at the pelvis down here where I've been speaking about through this video, the length of that lat's just getting shorter, right, contracting. And so that's really what you're using when you do a pull-up. Other things as well, like the biceps, the core, well, I mean the whole body, right? But yeah, the whole body's involved in everything we do, even just breathing, and we're always breathing if we're alive. But that lat's just so strong is what I mean. I mean, you can lift your whole body up, you know, and not many muscles in the body that can really do that big of a function, you know. Like I'm saying, it's not the lats alone that do that, but you know, you think of like the hamstrings, like I mentioned earlier, big muscles that do a lot of work, you know. The lat's a similar thing. So yeah, I mean, just so many things, right, that go into the lat, and you never have to like do anything in your life to get into these patternings other than just being within clothing that's imbalanced. It's crazy, truly. So you know, because I've talked about it since the founding as well. People don't ever actually stand. When I say don't ever, I mean most everybody can't on their right leg. And when people are standing, almost all their weight's on their left side, and their right leg's just kind of like resting on the ground. And that's the point. Like I'm saying, when I lean left, my right foot just wants to come off the ground. And when I lean right, my left leg can really still stretch down quite a ways and put some good force down on the ground. It's just chronic shortening of muscles on the right side of the body, and then, you know, the other side, the left, is just either chronically elongated because there's still a center line that it has to oppose, or just, you know, not really altered all that much. It's not really altered all that much, right? Choose the right. The episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast where I talk about the right side of the body is basically the only side we ever need to actually address at all. Seriously, right? Take that with a grain of salt, but that really is the case. So I mean, this is the big thing, right? This is my exercise that's not an exercise. Keep weight on your right heel. Okay, have your shoes laced and tied within the Image Clothing Company shoelacing technique, just the only way the human feet are shaped. All right, it's one of our 2 prerequisites. The other one is removing all tags from clothing, as we say, right? I say those things when I say where clothing sits, and I said it earlier, and then I kind of like, you know, got stepped back and humbled by what's going on here. So, you know, have that be going on, stand even, have your drawstring tight even, or just your waistband of your pants even, left to right. No rotation in it, nothing in your pockets, shoulders at even heights if you can. I have a dreaded collar seam in this top, but the top's inside out, and so it's actually on the right side when the dreaded collar seam is almost always on the left side, but yikes. So try to keep weight on your right heel and just, you know, bend left to right and just really feel the discrepancy or the difference, if you will, same thing in this context, from your right latissimus dorsi insertion to your left one, and just, you know, kind of play with it with your thumbs, and just you know, break up the scar tissue just by rubbing it with your own thumb. Okay, And here's the thing is, there's so many things, you know, we talk about In The Image Clothing Company's zipper modification and just what zippers and pants do to close off the left side of the pant leg, and that goes to the right pelvis crest where that lat inserts. Really, that's actually what happens because of all the reasons we explain. There's a lot to say in this video, so I didn't even know that when I started it. It would be this, but you know, the stitch in the rear of pants that goes to that lat insertion because of what it does, right? We talk about it. I just won't explain it all right now. So there's so much that goes directly to that lat insertion on the right pelvis crest. And so, you know, if I were to put something as like definitely one of the biggest places to put importance on when it comes to addressing scar tissue in the body and where it happens in almost every human across the whole earth, it's this location where I've been discussing this whole video. Okay. When people bend down, and they almost always bend down with their right hand, what are you doing? Shortening the distance of that right lat, right? If people, are gonna do anything with their right hand and it puts the right arm lower at all, the right shoulder, that's the lat, okay? The lat inserts up here to the shoulder area, okay, at the upper arm bone, like I showed at the beginning, more of this video. So there you go. I'm gonna do a cartwheel, and then I'll probably cut this video because this is good. You know, like I've been saying a lot since the founding, a lot of the reasons why the videos are structured the way that they are is just for the dates. I say the dates in the video, you can see my body transform legitimately from the founding of In The Image Clothing Company until now. We do so much under video, and so documenting, not only did we say the same things at the very founding that we will always be saying, right? In The Image Clothing Company is just a thing for at least the life of Evan Strong, me, and then, you know, probably going forth after I die. But also, I mean, you can just see it, right? The fruits of the labor, that's what I talk about, where I'm putting in the work, practicing what I preach, and really I go and preach what I have practiced, and then you can see it happening real time, if you will, right? So a lot of it's also insurance for In The Image Clothing Company. If anybody else tries to claim that they've been saying these things since before us, or that they came up with these things or whatever, right? It's kind of just like a journal in The Image Clothing Company's videos, in a sense, you know, and it's documenting what I'm really doing and how this really is just authentically In The Image Clothing Company information, right? So the date marks are big. That's why I do that, okay? It also makes it easier to document things, and, you know, as far as like storing our videos and stuff. But I'm gonna do a cartwheel, okay? Y'all ready? The performance. I don't know. I like to do stuff like that as well at times, just to show I'm not trying to mock anybody or talk bad about anybody, but there are a lot of people out there that give a lot of like fitness information or claim they know how the body works, but their own body doesn't work all that well, and they don't have any limitations that like wouldn't allow theirs to. They just don't really actually know how to get down to allowing the body to work. And that's our whole point of In The Image Clothing Company. There's 4 sides. Within The Image Clothing Company Poodles, letting dogs stay natural, we do the same thing that we do for human beings. In all ways that we allow the body to work, we let dogs stay natural. Okay, we specialize in purebred standard poodles. We do all the things. I'm not going to give so much of an explanation. I just talk about things where I do. But in The Image Clothing Company music, right, same thing with guitar setups. I allow the body to work, and just while making music, and then I place music there as well. Cool music that I make, and whatever else we end up doing with music. Probably a lot of cool things down the road. In the Image Clothing Company podcast, 155 episodes as of the last one we filmed on the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's the point, okay? And I give little information here and there on the human body's anatomy as well, clothing, right? And, well, the other 3 sides also, right? Talking about poodles and just dogs in general, music. I play guitar normally, at least a little bit for the intro of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, right? So, anyway, the point is, I never ever want there to even possibly be a question on if our information is valid, because there'd be no point me saying this as the founder, as the one who all the final decisions come through, if you will, for In the Image Clothing Company. There would be no point in us making any piece of content, giving any kind of explanation or information on the anatomy of the body or anything, if it wasn't actually real. And there's a lot of people out there, and they're selling workout plans, for example. They're selling dietitian books, or they're selling, right, programs in those ways. And if you know who we are as In the Image Clothing Company, we don't do those things. We don't. We give free modifications for your own clothing. We, yes, sell clothing, good clothing, staying centered, fitting correct, being made from 100% natural materials, allowing the body to work. We sell dog products, right? Same thing, the same intent, right? Letting dogs stay natural in all the ways that we do that. But the point really is the body. The point really is just giving truthful information and stuff that's not conditional to a time period, not stuff that's conditional to like a hobby or something. You know, you've got people who give advice in certain like realms of life. Our whole point is, under In the Image Clothing Company, at least, what I mean, right? We have a body and it only could ever do what it does. Let's just understand it and live. And so, anyway, that whole explanation basically came from me saying I'm going to do a cartwheel, and I like to do some athletics, well, because I just like to do athletics. I'm very, very athletic, and meaning I'm very good at it, okay, at sports. Yikes, without trying to be prideful. And so I like to show, though, that I'm not just somebody who has knowledge because I read from a book, and I've made this clear since the founding. And I've made it clear since the founding that I want to make this clear, because there are a lot of people out there who, they've gone to school, and okay, you can learn information there, but they're just flipping through books or on the internet nowadays. They know information, but they don't like personally know the information out of experience. And really how In the Image Clothing Company has come to be is my own personal experience figuring these things out through prayer, revelation, and just by myself, without another human being telling me this information, without me looking it up somewhere, because we speak about things that other people don't. There's nobody else that I've come across, I haven't been like looking for them, but that speaks on the same things that we do, that really understands the reasons why the body doesn't seem to work in modern day, you know, and we know the actual truth, and so yeah, you know, poodle parade events under In the Image Clothing Company poodles. I've been thinking about it so much. It'll be so fun. It's just a discussion now. It's just like me, you know, giving information that I feel I need to give right now, as far as like today's date. Okay, so anyway, I'll make this clear as well. I say it where I do, as I've said since the founding, at least, you know, I mean, since the very beginning, you know, just about a few months in, at least, you know, of In the Image Clothing Company, I've been saying, and I mean it, don't believe me. As the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, any information I give, even though I just said all this about we only speak on truth, and we do, okay, although we make mistakes where we do, what I mean is, don't believe me. Don't just blindly do exactly what I say and think it's gonna work. But we just give, like I said, information and insights. We're not telling you what to do. And that's the thing, you know, if you do listen to like a workout plan or somebody's like 6-week program, you basically normally just do exactly what they say. And well, what if they're not really giving you information that's what you need to do, you know? So yeah, I mean, just I'm gonna do a cartwheel. I don't know, bro. I'm excited, I'll say that, you know, and I haven't made a video like this for a while, you know, I mean, where I'm just kind of standing here, just discussing things as we do, kind of like a company information video. It's been a while. It's many months since I've made a video like this, so I like this. Okay. Anyway, cartwheel, I guess. Why not? Anyway, stick around for the poodles. You'll see why if you stick around, or if you stop back in later, you know, whatever. We're allowing the body to work here. We're not telling you what to do. We're not giving you something that'll only last for a certain time. It's eternal, right? A lot of times in life we spend a lot of time learning about other things that aren't us. And we can, sure. There's a lot of stuff out there you can choose to learn about, but it's you, right? The episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled The Only Thing That We Have. The human body. Okay, that's it. You don't have this life without the body that you have, regardless of how it looks or how it works or whatever. We just give understandings, explanations, like I'm saying, on how it operates, how to let it. Okay. I used to say it like this often, right? The goal is natural, the key word is allow. In the Image Clothing Company, okay? This video is great. And it started off with me being very frustrated. Yeah, this is my third try at filming the importance of even ear cartilage. And then it ended up being this discussion. So that video still hasn't been made fully. It will. I will make that video someday. That's not me trying to make some promise. It's a video that needs to be made. And I guess just not yet. So there you go. Okay. I love the mountains. Okay, and it's a beautiful place to be if you love mountains. Utah, the state in the United States of America. Okay, wherein the Image Clothing Company is based. And so Poodle Parade events, yeah, a lot of it will just be having fun, hanging out, and yeah, you know, letting dogs stay natural. Sure, I'll give a lot of information on that, but just, you know, going on hikes, like mild hikes, maybe a little bit, yeah, mostly mild hikes. I mean, I don't like big hikes necessarily. But, you know, like I say, at parks, sometimes we'll do them, you know, and just wherever we do. So, we're just chill, man. We're just real. We're just here to really help the human body, right? And everybody has one. I like to, you know, kind of like catch the phrasing on that. Every body has one. That's really what that word means. Okay, so company information. You know, one of those videos. I kind of want to do a little bit more athletics in some way, to kind of show what I was saying, how, yeah, you know, I want to make it clear my body works well. I know a lot of times, at least up until now, you haven't really been able to, ironically, see that under In the Image Clothing Company, because I just, you know, often I'm standing here at like shoulder or head height speaking to a camera. I'll do a front handspring. I'll just kind of hang out. It's almost like when, you know how people do like live streams, right? Where people are on the other end actually in real time. And, you know, that's kind of how this video feels more like, you know, than just a regular video. Just some company information, kind of me stopping in, if you will, even though I'm making videos often at this time. But this is more of like I'm gonna just stand here and kind of just like speak on whatever I speak on. Okay, so I'm gonna do a front handspring. This isn't Evan Strong's showing off video, but this is, like I'm saying, you know, making it clear I really know the body well. I've also had years of just doing things like parkour in the past, you know, flips all the time, front flips, back flips, side flips, Websters, things like this, you know, the front handspring and stuff. Because actually, as of today's date, I don't know if it'll stay there. It might not. But there's, well, three videos actually that are related to this. A Webster tutorial, which is a one-footed front flip, a gainer tutorial, which is like a swing backflip like this, and then a side flip tutorial, a punch side flip. I made those like right at the very founding of In the Image Clothing Company. So, I just I know how big this will be. I know that I'm in this for life, and I know the impact of this because personal experience. Okay, what has happened in my own physical body and my own life. My whole life has changed because of this. So, yeah, and the other thing is just incorporating the gospel of Jesus Christ in everything that we do, where we do, because the only way we can know how the body works, to allow it to work, is knowing how God designed it. Because we didn't design it, we can't decide it. That's another episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast's title. We didn't design it, we can't decide it. And so that's the whole thing with this is we have four sides to us, all wrapped up and encapsulated, encompassed in one thing. Okay? God, his design of the human body, and then allowing his design to work. And even with dogs as well, it's God's design, right? Every living thing on this earth, and everything that's not living as well. I mean, everything's God's, it's not ours. And it's just all too common in modern day for people to try to invent things or start new things or come up with new ideas to try to get things to work well. And the best way that things work is just how they were originally, if they're just not altered. And so just in all ways that we do all the things that we do, that's how we approach it under In the Image Clothing Company. So I'll do a front handspring. I mean, sure, I almost feel a little bit like weird because I don't want to be trying to like show off, but it's good context on where I'm coming from with, saying things like the claims I make where you can never actually warm up the human body. If it's activated as a whole, the only way it would ever work, all the musculature is already turned on, always, even sleeping, right? To the degree that it is, because it's your brain that turns off, but your body, you're still breathing, your muscles are still activated to a degree. It's truly, that's another thing we talk about, just sleeping naturally. Like I say, eating, breathing, standing, walking, sitting, breathing, eating, sleeping. I said a couple of those things a couple of times. But that's what I mean, I say you can never actually stretch the body and benefit from it. And that's a claim I've made since the founding, and it's the truth, all right? I call it a claim because it sounds like it, but it's the truth. We just need to know how to keep the musculature activated and in its neutral positions. Like I say, everything just resides in its neutral. Otherwise, you're trying to stretch things to get just to their neutrals. Okay, and so, anyway, I know how the body works. If that's not obvious, that's kind of like the reason I'm doing things like this cartwheel and this front handspring, and whatever else I do. But it's just so fun, walking dogs is just, it's going to be so awesome. I love walking. I walk a lot, but then even in the house, I just pace a lot. That's something I've basically always done. And so, when we have our poodles, and then, our breeding program, In the Image Clothing Company poodles, we breed poodles as well, registering them properly under the American Kennel Club, advocating for doing so, right? We do a lot of advocating for dogs as well as all the other things we do to let dogs stay natural. So just walking dogs, it's fun. That's the big thing with poodle parade events, is it'll be just so fun to hang out up there in the mountains. It's not so far away here in Utah. We live right on the Rocky Mountain Range in the western United States. There's mountains surrounding us, all directions here. We're in a valley, in like a big basin in Utah County. But then, just all of Utah, there's so many mountains all over the place. But then anywhere we are, like I'm saying, it's just so fun to watch the dogs have fun, for us to have fun in places that we just get to go. It'll just be good. It'll be so fun. So just athletics, I think, is the point, is being able to move, being able to walk. It's not like an option to choose from. Holy cow. Hey, bro. Right? If we just didn't have our modern society, we'd have to have our bodies working. You have to. If you didn't have a car, you'd have to walk, okay? Unless you're like in a horse and buggy or just on the back of an animal. And even that's harder than walking, right? If you didn't have modern jobs where you can sit down or where you can be using like technology that didn't even exist just decades ago from today's date back, right? The 10th of September, 2025, then you'd have to walk everywhere. You'd have to just move your body. You'd have to be able to bend over and pick things up. And in modern day, we just live a different life. As I say, you know, that's a big thing that's kind of like enabling In The Image Clothing Company to be what it is the time period we're placed in. A lot of things that we talk about never could have even been talked about in the past because they didn't exist. Technology, the ways that it is, you know, and materials and lifestyle, okay? So, yeah, right? Just a discussion. I'm just talking, just standing here speaking, and I'll do a front handspring. Although there's 2 people there now, and I'm not nervous, but I don't want to just like seem like I'm showing off. That's the big thing. That's partially why I haven't even done it yet, because I'm like, man, I don't want to be some show off with this, you know. I said I'd do it. I better do it. I'm nervous. Oh, shoot. That's one of those things, you know. It's silly. It's like, what's the reason you're really doing it? People often think, you know, back when I used to do parkour and stuff, it's like, are you just showing off? I'm like, no, I just enjoy moving my body, and I'm just doing it whether there are people around or not, you know. It's so funny. I feel funny about it, but I love this. Okay, so I love poodles. If you don't know by now, we have a 1/4 of our company that's dedicated to poodles, and that's why. Okay, so it'll be really fun, okay? In all the things we do in life, we allow the human body to work, and you know, our 1-year anniversary, if you will, from our founding date is the 23rd of September, which is in 13 days actually from today. Then we will have been in the Image Clothing Company for a year. At that point. Okay, so the big thing is good things take time, and the cool thing is the gift of video, as I call it, you know, being able to document my body's actual transformation since the founding, like I've been discussing some throughout this video, because, you know, a lot of times people think that if you don't get quote unquote off the ground by a certain time, then your company won't work. The reason our company here in the Image Clothing Company has taken as long as it has is because it's needed to. Okay, where the credibility really comes from is, like I'm discussing, being able to see the transformation in my body by doing the things that I discuss. Okay, and yeah, episode 100 of In The Image Clothing Company podcast was titled Laying a Foundation. I was just getting started, okay? So these are the reasons why it's taking some time. And also just, you know, God has his timing, and it's not our timing. And things are being put into place in ways that I don't even know in the times when I'm doing the things that I'm told to do. So that will just be able to be seen as time goes on, even by me, right? Even the things that I'm not aware of as of yet, I'll know more as time goes. You know, at least a lot of the reasons as to why things happen in the timings they did. Things like this, you know, where I stood here and I tried to make this video. It was the same location that I tried the other 2 times on the importance of even ear cartilage, and it still hasn't been made. And I know some of the reasons why, but as time progresses, I might be given revelation on more of why it really was, you know, an intentional delay, if you will, by God. So just as we go, you know, more will be seen by both me and anybody else who checks out what we are and who we are as In The Image Clothing Company. Okay, so just know I'm doing all I can to pray through things, not to build some business. No, I'm here to actually make things that last forever. And in order to do that, it has to be God's will. We can't do anything out of our own desires or will, right? Meaning our choices, our decisions that will actually last forever, because it's not our plan. God has a plan for every one of us, and his plan for me is in the Image Clothing Company. And I have to approach it the way that he needs me to, otherwise it just won't work the way he needs it done. So I'm nervous. The only reason I'm nervous is for people thinking I'm showing off. That's like a prideful thing on my part. I'm being prideful about trying not to seem like I'm prideful. Is that weird or what? That's funny. So anyway, as winter comes, that's a different thing. Shoot, you know, I mean, just we wear different clothing in different seasons. Okay, at least here in the United States of America, especially in Utah, we've got drastically different seasons. Summer to winter, it's 100-degree Fahrenheit difference often, give or take. Okay, and yeah, from winter to summer. And so I've lived here in Utah my whole life. I know the weather and how it's very Utah-like. Okay. So there's a lot that comes with winter clothing, right? It's just so different than summer clothing. And so you can wear very simple things in the summer, and then in the winter, often you're layering clothing and you're wearing thicker clothing. You're keeping warm when it is 0 degrees Fahrenheit, you know, often when freezing Fahrenheit is at 32 degrees. And so, I mean, it gets cold here, you know, it gets negatives, not all that low, below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, but it does. And so there's just a lot that comes, you know, and year by year, right? This is only our first year. We're in the month of September, yeah, you know, I mean, this is almost a whole year in the Image Clothing Company is what this discussion really is, you know, date marked wise. So, you know, each year and as our products come, that's the thing, we'll tweak things where we need to, and it's always just about quality, trying to have things that last, trying to always do everything clothing, right? Like what I'm wearing right now, I could do anything that I ever needed to do in it, as long as the weather was basically what it is now, right? If it was really cold, okay, I need more clothing, layering or just covering me, right? But that's what I mean. As we go, we are going to get in depth with things. We're in the first year of this. We still, as of today's date, just don't have products yet, which is how it's supposed to be for us, okay? But yeah, I mean, like I keep saying about, you know, how we're always going to be such a huge name in poodles, in the Image Clothing Company poodles, just the ones will change. Yeah, what we get into with that might be shocking to a lot of people, okay? And then our products as well, and what we really do for the environment as well. Okay, Clean the Creek Poodle Parade events, for example, actually cleaning up trash. There's so much we do that we don't do yet, if that makes sense, okay? In the Image Clothing Company, yes, we are a clothing company, as I've said since the founding, right? But really the point is the human body. And so we're essentially like a physical therapist. We're essentially like, a personal trainer, although we can't train the body, but right, for the same intent of getting the body to work well. Okay, we sell good products. We teach a lot about dogs, grooming of dogs. We do events where you can come involve yourself. There's an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled Involve Yourself. So there will be a lot in nature, right? And in Utah, we are going to just live up Utah, if you will. Always. I love it. I've lived here since I was born, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Anytime anybody asks me, like, where would you want to go on the earth if you could just go anywhere that you wanted for free, or, you know, everything just worked out and paid for, I always, you know, at least lately when I've been asked that's what I say is just because when I was younger, I didn't really know much of what I wanted to do with my life, right? Or what I was going to, or what I was supposed to, like what God had planned for me. But I do say, like, no, I just want to stay in Utah. I love it here so much. So we, as In The Image Clothing Company, I'm staying here for life in the state of Utah. And that's funny as well, just because of a lot that happened last year. There's a lot. There's a lot that we do. I'll say it like that, okay? And there's an episode of In The Image Clothing Company podcast, or a few of them, where I talked about I almost moved to California, but that was in the time when I had removed my records from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I was so confused and lost, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I wasn't myself at all, and I was one of the only people that didn't realize that, which is kind of ironic. That's how it is, though, usually when that happens. And so we're gonna live Utah up, as In The Image Clothing Company. So much with poodles here, so much in the beauty that surrounds. Seriously, under the gift of video too. It's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be really awesome what we do with video. Oh my gosh, okay? A lot of information on poodles, a lot of information on so much, okay? Because not only clothing for the human body, but then things we do in our lives. And I've done some videos like that, like how driving affects body mechanics, you know, and you know, things like the things that we use daily in our hands, how they affect body mechanics, and eating and drinking and sleeping. So as of today's date, it might seem like we're mostly just focused on clothing only. We will always be a clothing company. That's why it's 2 of our 5 words in our name. In The Image Clothing Company. Yes, okay? And we always focus on dog clothing too, okay, as well. Collars, leashes, and harnesses, right? But it's all the things that we do in our lives. And so just making it clear, again, documenting it under the date mark of September 10th, 2025. You know, we're not changing who we are. It's not like we're just a clothing company at the founding and then we decide to start branching out into all these other things. We are a lot that we just haven't quite gotten into yet, but it's about the human body. It's about the dogs. It's about the environment. It's about the gospel of Jesus Christ, and a lot with music as well. So there's a lot going on here that maybe just hasn't been able to be seen by others yet, if that makes sense. But I've referenced this line by Russ, the musician. He's a producer, writer, you know, mixed, mastered, engineered by Russ. You know, he says, a rapper, a singer, you know, he had a line in one of his songs and he said, you either see the vision or division. Which one is it? And me as the founder, I've got the vision of all of this. It's not some dream or hope. I just know where this is going and I know that it will. But everybody else who doesn't quite know all of what we're going to be doing might look at it and you know, have all varying opinions on what we are. And so just know, since at least now, right, and it's been a while since I've known a lot of what I know, but I'll speak for today's date, the 10th of September 2025. A lot of what I've said in here is what we will do, and it will be huge, okay? I've said before, In The Image Clothing Company, we're not a non-profit, but as far as what we do, it's in a lot of ways what those, you know, non-profit type organizations that really help the environment and, you know, species or breeds, like what we will do for poodles always, and the human body, you know, and giving information for free. That's something we'll always do, free modifications and just free information. A similar intent as to like those non-profit organizations is what In The Image Clothing Company is, always has been, and always will be, right? So I just want to make it very clear where the focus of what we really are and do and always will is, right? Even after I'm dead, this is like a time capsule in a sense as well. Like I'm saying, it's like they're like journal entries, a lot of these videos under In The Image Clothing Company. So there you go. For the sake of my ego, there's no people there. So now I'll do the front handspring, and then we'll probably just cut this. Maybe if I speak on more, I speak on more. I'll do the front handspring though, because I said I would. I did one like a couple weeks ago, and since then it had been years probably since I had done one, and so yikes, right? But I'll just go for it. Yeah. I will say this though, I've kind of like slowed down in a sense, like stopped doing a lot of stuff like that. I still play a lot of sports where I do, but flips, you know, because I'm gonna be a father one day. I've got this company to run, and I don't want to hurt myself, you know. And that is one of those things where you got to be pretty smart about what you do. And the whole point is really, you know, I'm the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, allowing the body to work. If I do something to damage my body, it's like, man, it's almost not practicing what I preach, you know, being a little bit extra rough with my body, just doing things that are unnecessary and then maybe hurting myself. You know, I'm just, you know, it's just about intentionality. That's the point. Okay. So in everything, actually, that's what we talk about a lot here. And on the Image Clothing Company podcast as well. Yeah, that's something that we really do discuss a lot. Just intentionality. Doing stuff like this, right? I'm not saying I'll never do flips again, even like a gainer on the ground, like that one-footed swing back flip. It's actually a fairly easy flip, right? Without trying to sound egoic, because you're doing a backflip and off one leg. But if you are used to flips, you know, it's a pretty low impact and low effort flip because it's so much momentum. And so, you know, I might continue to do some things like that here and there as time goes, but just kind of feel like a dad. You know what I mean? Kind of feel like I'm just in a different stage of life now, and so these things that I did, I don't know if I'll really do anymore. You know, used to mountain bike all the time, and I had a dirt bike, like a proper race motorcycle, you know, and yeah, I don't think I got to do a lot of that stuff anymore, but we'll do so much with poodles and, you know, just a lot of fun nature adventures that you really can involve yourself in. And that's, it's going to be so cool. Okay. It's going to be awesome. Don't come from me ever. Any event that you ever come to under In the Image Clothing Company, do not come for me. Please give me my space. You know, as I've been saying, I used to say it like under some of those first episodes of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, like, leave me alone. And I mean it, you know, but like, yeah, right. Come for the information. Come to have the poodles hang out together. Come to meet other people and spread what we do. And yeah, you can come and we can, you know, say hi, but don't come for my sake, right? We're doing bigger things than just me. Please don't put the importance on me ever under anything within the Image Clothing Company, just because I'm the founder. Yeah, I'm the one behind this and the one like really leading it as far as human beings go, right? But please don't put the focus on me ever. But anyway, allowing the body to work, we do it and we show how to, and we do all these other things that I'm discussing as well. And as time progresses, and as I progress too, because I mean, this is the first time I've ever founded a company, you know, and it's the only company I'll ever have, but just meaning I'm learning as I go, you know, and we'll keep it authentic, we'll keep it real, and yeah, we'll keep our priorities in the right place as best as we can as time goes on, okay? So, yeah, it's gonna be cool, man. It's gonna be cool. The team will grow. This is actually a big thing because we need team members. Not quite as of today's date, but depending on when you're seeing this, right? And just whenever, we need a team. You know, we'll have our building, as I've discussed, where we actually have our clothing being shipped out from. We'll have a beautiful area in there for the poodles to be, right? And we can be breeding poodles. I just don't want to say it exactly where it all will happen, but we'll have our building. It will definitely accommodate the poodles inside. It will definitely be a place where we can ship clothing out. It'll be a place where our team can come and work, have a good time. It will be a place where we can film a lot of videos as well, right? And be transparent about how we do things and kind of like the behind the scenes of what we really do that wouldn't otherwise really be seen by a lot of companies or businesses, you know, just being open and transparent always in the Image Clothing Company of who we are and what's really going on in all the ways that you wouldn't really see unless you were physically there if we didn't film it. But we do so much through video. Okay, so we'll have all that going on when we do, just meaning a lot of things will happen, okay, as time goes on. We'll work with brands. We'll work with, you know, dog brands like dog food and shoe brands and things. And I'm not saying this as if like I'm trying to like prophesy, but we will, okay? We'll work with shoe brands because we're a clothing company that doesn't do shoes. And so that's, you know, we probably won't really work with clothing brands because we are one, but we'll work with shoe brands. And then having poodles, we'll do a lot with people who are doing good things for dogs. Okay, kind of help each other out, give advertisement for them, they give advertisement for us, maybe they give us some free products as we give them advertisement, right? Or discounts on products for us, you know, talking about their products. Okay, we're gonna do a lot of things like this, and we will. I'm not trying to just make some claims. That's the point of making this video, is I'm speaking it before it happens, so you know we're really doing this, all right? And I was saying it since before because I was working toward it, and it just had to come in God's timing. I'm not trying to force anything to happen. Okay. It'll be awesome. It really will. Yeah. A lot with poodles, though, as well, when it comes to advocating, like I was saying, you know, dogs in shelters shouldn't be, you know? I mean, if we can microchip our dogs, if we can teach people how to be good owners of dogs, if we can have planned litters and breed properly, and, you know, it's kind of like our responsibility as in the Image Clothing Company Poodles to do all that we can to give the free information on these things, right? Because we need to help people, man. There's so much going on in life that doesn't need to if we have the understanding of it. So much pain in the body that happens that if we know how the body works, we wouldn't have to have. So many like behavioral issues with dogs. And again, you know, dogs getting out, running away, you know, even attacks from dogs. And yeah, dogs ending up getting stolen, or, you know, wherever it is that they end up. A lot of these things can be avoided if we have the understanding and the information on how to be a good owner of a dog. Yeah, okay. People being overweight and just not knowing how to eat properly or how to drink properly for their bodies to actually utilize what they're eating or drinking, right? Dehydration and where that really comes from. So we talk about all these things, we always will, and then we'll just get into depth with all this stuff deeper and deeper as much as we do, and whatever else we do that I just haven't mentioned here as well, because we're here to do a lot, like I'm saying, eternal, real stuff. So there you go. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. Say hello to the sun. Today is the 10th of September, 2025. This video is not at all how I thought it was gonna go when I first started this, but this is how it works, right? You just take some action. Our God loves effort. Start to do something in the direction of where you can tell you're at least kind of being guided to, and then you'll get kind of course corrected as you go. So here you go, a company information video, if you will, the 10th of September, 2025. So thank you.